Hi again, Cheryl Totten with Boys and Girls Club of Greater Baton Rouge. This is day 4 of our Be Safe, Be Smart, Get Real About Violence program for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. I am so excited about the message of today's program because it really gives you some hands-on skills that you can use to help stop some of the mean and violent things that you might see around you. First of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about the difference between reporting a problem and what can look like tattletaling. Tattletaling has been around forever, and so it really doesn't solve any problems either. Does that mean that there's not a problem? No, it doesn't. It means that something happened and you or somebody you know might not have had the quick solution in their head to know what to do at that moment, so they felt like it was time to tell the teacher or an adult. Well, that's not true, because if you think about tattletaling, when you tattletale on somebody, really all you're trying to do is get that person in trouble. And does that always solve the problem? Not really. It probably makes that person get mad at you and maybe want to do something back to you to cause you to get in trouble. So to me, tattletaling only equals trouble. And I have a solution. Instead, why don't we try to solve the problem? Well, first of all, we have to look at the problems, and there's different size problems to me. First of all, there's little bitty problems. If somebody makes a mean face at you or sticks their tongue out at you or even really just jokes with you and you don't really think it's a joke. Is that something you need to go and tell somebody about? Nah. The way to solve that problem is maybe just to ignore it and not make a bigger deal out of it than what it really is. And then there's some other problems. There's a medium-sized problem where maybe people have and are doing mean things to you. Or they did something mean to you one time. Maybe they made fun of you on the playground. Well, is that really, if it was one time, is that worth tattletaling to try to get that person in trouble? Do you really think that's going to solve the problem? Well, that's the kind of problem I'm going to talk to you about today, because those are the most common problems that we encounter. There's also another size problem, which is sort of like when somebody's in danger. I always like to use the example that if you're at the bus stop at school waiting to get on the bus, and maybe one of the big kids are swinging their book sack around, that could be very dangerous for somebody if they were to get hit by that book sack. So if you go and report that problem to an adult and let them know that there is a dangerous situation, are you being a tattletale? Not at all. You are reporting a problem, and you are trying to keep the people around you safe. So that's your message, that there's danger and you want your friends and the other children around to be safe. So that's not tattletaling, that's reporting a problem. So let's talk about those medium problems right now. Say you're outside. Say your neighbor comes over and they push you down. What is the first thing that you can do to help solve that problem? Run inside and tell your mom, well, one of the solutions to that problem is, okay, we'll just stay inside. Don't go outside and play anymore. Well, you might not like that idea. So instead, I want you to use a voice. Use your voice and tell that person, stop. That's mean. Or don't do that. Or cut it out. Knock it off. Okay? Tell them, stop. Some form or fashion. And you can come up with your own words to use to do that. Do you push that person back? Nope. That's only going to make the problem bigger. That's not going to solve the problem. And we want to solve the problem. You don't ever solve meanness with meanness. So if they stop and they say, look, I'm sorry, I was out of line. I shouldn't have done that. And will you forgive me? I'm sorry. Well, yeah, you solved the problem. You told them to stop and they stopped, right? Well, what if you tell that person to stop and they don't stop? They tell you something like, oh no, I'm not going to stop. You want more of this? I'll give it to you. I don't think that person's finished being mean to you. Should you stick around? I wouldn't. I would leave. I would leave and go somewhere else, somewhere that's safe, somewhere away from that person. You might know that person, and you might know that that person is not acting ordinary. They're not acting like themselves. Maybe they're under stress about something, and you're the person that they're taking it out on. You know them, so you're going to give them a chance. You're going to give them one more chance to think about their actions, think about what they did to you, and give them some space and give them some time to think about how they want to solve that problem. Because you know what? Friends don't treat friends like that. That's not the way we treat our friends, and that's not the kind of people we want to be around. And we have that choice. So the first thing you do is you tell that person to stop. Don't do that. If they don't stop, leave. Get away from them. Go somewhere that is safe. Somewhere safe might be with your brothers or sisters or some of your other friends. Go inside and just kind of chill out and cool off a little bit. All right, just move and leave away from them and go somewhere safe so that they can no longer hurt you. It might not be right. It might not be fair. It might be in your own yard or on the playground where you're allowed to play at school. But that doesn't mean that you're safe there, so you move away from the person who's being mean to you. Well, what if you do that too? What if you walk away from them and they follow you? Well, the problem just got bigger. But who made that problem bigger? Did you? No, you didn't. You did two things to try to solve that problem. You told them to stop and you moved away from them. They came to you to cause you more harm or to be mean to you. Well, that's kind of bigger than you then. It's not a little problem anymore. And you've already done some things to try to solve that problem. So the next thing you need to do is you need to ask for help. You need somebody, an adult or an older brother that is responsible or an older sister that is responsible for you, and tell them, I have a problem and I need some help. That's when adults should help young kids or people your age. They should help them when you can't solve that problem yourself. Otherwise, it's tattletaling. So you go to this person, you explain the problem, you explain what happened. Are you going to have to tell them who did it? Absolutely. They need to know that information. And then the next thing you're going to tell them what you did to try to solve that problem. That right there is going to tell that adult that you are not just tattletaling. You did try to solve the problem, and the problem didn't stop. It didn't go away. It's bigger than you, and you need some help. Can they help you? And you always ask and say, can you help me and keep me safe, please? I bet if they are aware that you tried to solve that problem on your own and it didn't work, they're going to do something to protect you and keep you safe. It may mean that you have to stay inside for a little time. They may need to contact another adult who's in charge of that child, or that friend that was playing in your yard, or at recess. A teacher might need to know this information. But by them knowing that you did two things by saying stop and walking away, they know you're not just tattletaling trying to make the problem bigger, that you are really trying to solve the problem and you want to stay safe. You know what, we talked about messages, and what do you think your message would be to other people that saw you do these sort of moves and using your voice and stuff like that? Well, younger kids might look up to you and say, ooh, well, that's how we solve problems. When people are being mean to me, I can tell them to stop. Everybody knows how to say that. But also the person that you're telling to stop, they're going to get the message that you're not going to play with them if they're going to treat you that way. You don't have to. You have a choice. So say stop, leave, and then if they follow you, you need to ask for help. Well, let's talk about that situation. That situation was you and another person being mean to you. There may have been other people around that saw that happen. Those people are called bystanders. And if you think that the person being mean or the bully at school has the most power, that's not correct. There are there's force greater in numbers, and there are more bystanders than there are victims and perpetrators, or people who act like bullies or do mean things to others. So there's more bystanders than there are either of those. They have the most power. It's cool to be kind, and those bystanders have the power to get that message out. For example, if there's somebody who's spreading rumors about you, that bystander says, "That sounds like a rumor to me. I don't want to hear it." Or, "Let's not spread that rumor." Those bystanders, if you're a bystander, if you've ever stood by and watched somebody get hurt, do you know it's like you're doing it to that person too? Never thought about that, did you? Well, it's true. A bystander stands by and lets meanness happen. So it's just as if they were doing it to the person and causing the problem to get bigger also. And plus, you're giving the power to the person who's being mean instead of supporting and helping the person who is the weaker of the two, or who is being hurt, or who is considered the victim. So bystanders need to stand up. We talked about how to solve problems without tattletaling. I've talked to you about reporting a problem. You know that tattletaling is different than reporting. Then I want you to use your voice, and I want you to put some actions in place. First of all, if somebody is doing something mean to you, tell them to stop. If they don't stop, leave. Go somewhere that is safe for you to be. And it's not by them if they're being mean to you. And if they follow you to your safe place, or if they try to hurt you again, and this problem is a bullying problem that continues on and on, it's time to get an adult involved to help you solve that problem and keep you safe. Boys and girls, there's a lot of people out there that are already in place in your life that can help keep you safe. Some of those people are certainly your parents, your guardian, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, older siblings and older cousins, older neighbors that you know, and people that you trust in your neighborhood. Police officers are some people who can help keep you safe. If there's a fire, that's certainly, I'm going to call 911, and I hope they send the fire department to help me solve those problems. So there's a lot of people already in place in your life that can help you. You need to find that trusted adult that can help you solve problems. If it's a bullying situation and it is something that's happening over and over again, it needs to be told to an adult. You need some help. You do not have to stand by and allow that behavior and that treatment of mean acts towards you. You don't have to stand for it, okay? You can do something to change that. So, people who can help you are your grandparents, your friends, your principal, your bus driver if you ride the bus at school, your librarian if you're in the library, cafeteria workers. Oh my goodness, they're amazing. And the custodians in your school. They will certainly help you if you say that you're in the bathroom and you need some help, because that's not always where a teacher is on duty and stuff like that. There are a lot of people, like I said, in place that can help you solve those problems. Well, boys and girls, we only have one more day of this series of videos, and so tomorrow I'll be talking to you about friendship. I want you to do something today for a small activity, and I want you to make or draw a picture of a barrel. And I'm going to go into more detail of this. So have your barrel made. This barrel represents you. And this is my barrel. When I was born, I feel like there was nothing but pure joy. The stories I've heard about when my birth happened and my parents and stuff like that, they were so happy that I came along and that I was born, and they loved me. So my life started with love and joy, pure joy and pure love. Well, as I grew, I learned to be afraid of stuff, falling down. I learned to fear people taking my toys, and I feared the dark sometimes, and so fear came into my life. And then, you know, when people would do things, or my dad was in the Navy, so if he would leave and while he was gone, I felt sad. So sadness came into my life. And of course, you know, sadness and worry kind of go hand in hand. And so I kind of worried about when he was going to come back and all that kind of stuff. And then as I grew and things happened in my life and so forth, I learned what loneliness was. You know, maybe when I couldn't play with my friends, or when my friends weren't around for me to play with, I might have felt lonely at times. And so I want us to talk about that, because all of these things, they can sometimes smother out or put that joy and love in a dark place, and or, you know, kind of bury it. And I want you to try to find that again. And so we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But make you a barrel. Draw this picture, make your own barrel, and talk about some feelings that you've had throughout your life. And don't forget to start with joy, and don't forget to start with love, because we're all part of that. We're all joyful creatures, and we all have the ability to love and be kind. I'll be back with day 5. I hope that you've been enjoying these videos. Like I said, this is my favorite video because I feel like it empowers you to stand up for yourself, stand up for others, and use your voice to help stop meanness around you. Have a great day, boys and girls, and I look forward to talking with you again tomorrow.